Hello, Body Slams fans. And you are tuning into Thursday Night Slam. I am one of your analysts. I am Chio Frost. And tonight we have a very, very special treat for you. For all you inspiring professional wrestlers who want to further your career and make something of yourself, look no further because tonight we will have Jared of the Inner Squared Circle here as he will be chatting away with none other than our man, Dennis Reaper.
What's up there, Chio?
What's up?
Oh
Not
man,
much, not a whole lot.
definitely, dude. I'm tired. I'm tired.
Yeah, we're all tired. Like I know tomorrow I'm gonna have a very stressful day out at work. But we're not here to talk about work. We're here to talk about professional wrestling and how we can improve the business and then also improve themselves as entertainers in this wild, wacky world that we call professional wrestling. Our other analysts, Mikey, will be on a little bit later around 10ish, as well as Austin. But let me get the cheap plugs out the way as always. Quick shout out to all of our Devereaux sports teams, podcast teams out there that we pretty much have a show on every day of the week except Fridays at the moment. But I think Pat and them are in the talks of getting that pulled off. So Mondays at 6 p.m., you can check out the Sullivan Squad on Tuesdays, the Old School Show at 6:30 p.m. On Wednesdays, the Combat Misfits at 6 p.m. Thursdays, that's us at 9:05. But starting November 4th, we'll be going bi-weekly. That's right. So soak up the month of October for these weekly interviews. So come November, after that, every other Thursday, you're gonna have to wait to see who we have on the show and to check us out. Like I said, Fridays we have nothing. Saturdays you get to see the Old School Show at 8 a.m. and the Scrapple Boys at 9 a.m. Actually, I think I might have that wrong. I think I might have the Old School Show twice by accident. But you still get to see the Scrapple Boys with Austin, who's here tonight, like I said, at 9 a.m. And on Sunday, to round it out, you got the Gobbler Inc. at 9 a.m., the Combat Misfits once again at 10 a.m., and us this coming Saturday only at 11 a.m. we will be here. But starting in November 7th will be the first one at 11 a.m. Breakfast and Body Slams will be on weekly instead of once a month. That's right. We'll be here every week to talk about what's going on in the world of professional wrestling. And on one final note, I want to give a quick shout out to our affiliate podcast teams out there. Anthony, Andy, and Brian, all at the Tornado Tag podcast, which was on right before us at 7 p.m. Also, the guys at the 2300 Wrestling Podcast, the two Daves, DB Richards and Sweet Tea referee Dave Keener. And last but not least, our affiliates all the way in Puerto Rico, Conversaciones de Lucha Libre with Daniel Mercado and Emmanuel Burrows. But you can all three of those shows, you can Google all three, find them on all podcast platforms. You don't want to miss them, any one of them, as well as our Devereaux Sports teams as well. You can check them all out if you go to Devereaux Sports on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch. And for us here at Body Slams Podcast, you can check out all our shows if you go to our website, bodyslams.pro, where you can, like I said, you can see us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch, and as well, not just, you can watch our past shows. They're in playlists, so you can see every past show that happened, as well as if you're on the go and you're in your car, or you're running or you're on the treadmill at the gym or whatever, you can listen to the podcast itself on anything like as far as iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and so on. They're all on there. You don't want to miss out. So yeah, go to bodyslams.pro, like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification button, so you can know when we are on, and you can jump into chat rooms, make whatever comments you want, ask whatever questions you have. And that's what we like to hear. We like to hear feedback from you, the fans. But I'm going to turn this thing over to our man, Dennis Reaper, as he's about to get this interview underway. Dennis, it's all yours, brother.
Thank you very much, Chio. Without further ado, Chio, since you're in charge of the control room, I would like to bring on our guest at this time, Jared from the Inner Squared Circle. It's an amazing platform for young and up and coming wrestlers, managers, valets, referees, anybody that's trying to get into the wrestling business, or even if you are in the wrestling business and you just want that extra thing to help you that's not what you're getting at a wrestling school and you want to do it on your own, this is where it is. So without further ado, let's bring on our guest, Jared from the Inner Squared Circle.
Hey, what's up, Dennis? Thanks a lot for having me here on Body Slams, man. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you for taking the time away and joining us today or this evening. Now, Jared, I've been friends with you on Facebook for well over a year. I've been seeing my friends literally been posting about your platform that you have, the Inner Squared Circle, and then during the pandemic, I took the leap of faith because for me it's very hard for me to trust people to help me that are not my trainers, and through the internet. So before I even jumped and made the leap of faith, I will say I did reach out to Bob Evans and asked him, and he was like, "If you don't jump on this, you will regret it." He goes, "You will learn a lot from you." So I did. I jumped on I joined the live seminar, and I jumped in. And it's literally helping me now with bookings without the pandemic, where I have guys going, "Hey, when can you wrestle?" And I'm like, "Well, let's sit down and discuss, just negotiate the time, the dates, the fees, and all that." And it's helping me so much now that I didn't have that help before. So
that's awesome, man. That's great to hear. I appreciate you saying that, and tell Bob I said thank you as well. Give him my best.
I definitely will. So we're gonna kick it right off, right with a gut punch. I want as what we do with our guests is we always want to know, how did you get involved with professional wrestling?
Okay, cool. Yeah, so we'll just start right there, man. When I was a kid, my grandparents only had like 2 or 3 stations on TV. Like it was the old rabbit ear headset, right? So they had the Golden Girls, they had soap operas, and they had like the news or whatever they watched like at during the afternoon. So I'm flipping the channels, and I had to like physically push the buttons, and then I saw the Ultimate Warrior like snorting, and there was like lightning behind him. Like I'm hooked. So like 5 years old, I'm hooked. Didn't really look into baseball, hockey, football. I didn't want to learn any of the guys. Like I knew all the wrestlers. That was all I was focused on. So I knew I wanted to do it since I was 5. There was a local company called Yankee Pro Wrestling in Fall River, Massachusetts. I used to go there as a kid. My parents would take me there all the time. And then I started showing up like 16 years old. I couldn't get trained. But I'm like, I'm going to do that. So I kept showing up, asking to set up the ring. They're like, okay, kid, fine. My mom would embarrass me, be like, okay. And like my mom would like tell the promoter that I couldn't eat certain foods on Friday because of my religion and stuff like that. I'm like, Mom, oh my God, you're embarrassing me. Right. But I'd always be begging the guys. I'm like, hey, if you're a bad guy, feel free to hit me. Like, I know I'm a kid, but I'll fall for you. And like, okay, kid, fine. So I take the jackets. I'd be the ring crew security guy, 16 years old. Heels would punch me in the face, and then before the show, every now and then, they would train me in the ring how to do it. But then what ended up happening, eventually they had a school in New Bedford when I was old enough to actually drive there on my own. I had a learner's permit, but I drive there on my own. And I broke in, 16 years old going to train in there.
Okay. That's kind of the same way how it was for me actually as a kid. I always tell everybody I was watching as for I had one of those big TVs with the little turn knobs, and
Yep.
you had the top one and the bottom one, and you could put the channel here, but if it didn't come in, you had to mess with that bottom knob to try to get the static to go away. And I had the antennas, and if that didn't work, we used the tinfoil to expand the antennas. Um, but no, that's it's great that your very first thing when you turned it on at 5 was one of the most overzealous, most outspoken, amazing wrestlers that have ever graced the wrestling ring, in my opinion. Because there's nobody ever that was like him, and there will never be anybody that's ever like him ever again.
Yeah, and I wasn't really like the greatest Warrior fan either, but just when you're a kid and it's like be Arthur and the Golden Girls or the Ultimate Warrior, like what are you gonna watch? And there was a clear decision.
I would go with the Warrior on that one. But that was what made him so good, and that's what made wrestling so good at that time. Is you had these guys that were overzealous and beyond things. But let's get right into I remember from your seminars, your wrestling background, you did train to be a wrestler and everything like that. And, you did have the opportunities with OVW and things like that. While you were getting in the ring to wrestle and train and everything like that, what was the mindset then compared to the mindset now of wrestling?
Okay, so basically, like to start with the end in mind, what I'm doing now is I help guys that are super talented in their careers in the business, but they're stuck, right? They want to make it, but they keep hitting the wall. They don't know what to do. They keep being told you're really good, but something's missing. They can't figure out how to progress. I help guys figure that out to get to the next level. Now, the reason why I do that is because when I broke in, I followed all the advice you hear. Everything like keep your head down, mouth shut, ears open, don't stand out, don't ask any questions, like really just be humble and hope it works, like the whole pay your dues thing. And here's what I want to say, like I have nothing against paying your dues whatsoever, but the point was I was almost conditioned to not stand out, and I was almost conditioned like to just be super humble and quiet and hope someone would give me a spot. So like I was a really good worker, but I didn't know how to market myself. I didn't know how to brand myself. And I spent a lot of years doing it the wrong way, right? A way that I thought would work, but it didn't actually produce any results. So towards the tail end of my career, I started getting smartened up. But yeah, like it was really difficult in the beginning because you're doing everything you think is the right thing to do, and everybody's telling you it's the right thing to do. And you're surrounded by it from your trainers and the school and the other places, but it's just not working. So that was always the most frustrating part. Does that make sense?
No, it definitely does. Because I fell into that same category. I love my trainers and I loved everybody that I've ever learned from in the business, but I was always taught respect will get you places and get you to go further. But in reality, it didn't do much for me. It was like I could be the most respectful guy and show up and help set the ring up and help set chairs up. And there was plenty of shows I went to, but never got put on the show. But there'd be
100%.
guys that would show up and just go to the promoter, like, "Hey, I want to wrestle," and they'd put them on, and I'm like, "Hold on." They just showed up, not on the card, just got booked. I've been here since 7:30 this morning just to even get an opportunity. I helped build your ring. I helped set the chairs up. I went out and helped flyer, um, helped your entranceway, and I'm being told, "Hey, we just want you to kind of sit in the back and just hang out."
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. I never went back after that because that was the sign of this isn't what I need to do. I need to break away from that.
Hmm.
And I had other guys in the business that helped me see that. They were like, "Look, you're the nicest and most respectful kid in the locker room, but you have to know when you have to put your foot down and just go for it." And I started to do that, and it ruffled feathers. I won't lie, ruffled a lot of feathers. But at the same time, I was wrestling every weekend when I was ruffling those feathers.
Yeah.
I was wrestling every Friday, every Saturday for the first 6 years of my career. From actual in-ring wrestling, I was wrestling every day. I was in training 3 or 4 days a week. I'd have a day off or so, and then I'd have a show. Um, and then as the older I got, I kind of like plateaued. Because I was always stuck with, "Hey, I'm Dennis Reaper," because I was young and dumb and got it tattooed on my chest. So it's kind of like I'm stuck with that name
Yeah,
And
to
I
keep the
never,
name because of the tattoo. You have to keep
yeah,
the name.
because everybody's like, you have it tattooed on you. Now I'm getting it covered up because it's one of those like, I've talked to guys that are actually in WWE and AEW and Impact, and they're like, that might be the main thing that might hold you back is that tattoo on your chest. That's the only thing that might hold you back, unless you wear a full piece like MVP and you cover up your chest. I'm like, yeah, but MVP doesn't always cover up his chest sometimes. I was like, neither does Dustin Rhodes. Those guys do open, do take those things off and they do rip and they do, what do I do then? So I'm just going to get it covered up because it's one of those. I know if that's what's holding me back from even getting seen or getting a tryout with them, then I'll do whatever I got to do to get that. But I'm going in a different path now with the whole photography and the production equipment stuff and doing the behind the scene things because producing matches is more fun now for me. I love
Actually,
wrestling, but
yeah, like 100%. And I think that's cool that you're getting into the production aspect. I actually learned way more about the business after I became a producer. I say it all the time. Like, I almost wish most wrestlers would learn how to be producers because the light bulb goes off right away. What I started doing is so I produced a company in Las Vegas called Paragon Pro Wrestling. It's where Kevin Cross came from, Alexander Hammerstone came from there, Royce Isaacs, um, Anthony Green or August Gray from NXT. A lot of great talent there. Darren Corbin from the Midwest. But then I also produced and directed for Ring of Honor. So I was helping them out doing TV. But I learned so much from behind the scenes. And what I try to do, I try to be the liaison between talent, between like an independent guy struggling and versus what a producer would see. And then I try to merge that together and help them see what a producer would see to help them get their it factor. Do you know what I mean when I say
no,
that?
that's what I do now. So I help train at a company called American Championship Pro Wrestling. I'm one of the producers for most of their young kid matches. But the one company that's a local company that's a homebrew from guys that train with me in my school, called Outbreak Wrestling. We have Gorilla. They have the producers. They have match agents. That's where I really started getting the ball rolling on. I really want to learn this side. Like, I want to learn Gorilla. I want to learn how to produce a match properly. Like, if it's just because it's an independent wrestling show, I want to help produce a match in an independent show that's TV quality.
And you see it from every angle. Now you know why certain things stand out and why they don't.
Yes.
Now you understand why certain people tell you, well, do it this way. Like, it's not that they're trying to tell you to slow down or that they're old or that they're old fashioned. It's like there's a certain thing that really works well
Yep.
on television that gets over, and they know what they're talking about, right? But it's the most fascinating part in the business. But
Like
what you said, I'm sorry, what you said before was really true though, about like you spent years in the business, like showing up early, setting up the ring, and then some guy would just come in and take the spot, right? I feel like that's the biggest undiagnosed or untalked about problem in the wrestling business. Like, people end up like that 15, 20 years where they're showing up early, staying late, setting up the rings, hoping for a spot. But I compare it to you ever have like a crush on a girl or something like that, and you do
Yep.
everything to try to win her over, and
And
then
it
all of a
doesn't ever
sudden some other dude just shows up and takes her, and he didn't do half the work. Like that, to me, that's what the wrestling business is sometimes.
Yeah.
So we could complain about, well, why is it that way? Or we could find out what actually works and do that.
Yep. I agree with you 100% with that. That analogy, I didn't even think of it that way, but it makes sense. Well, it's 100% the fact. It's truth. You
Yeah.
know, wrestling is the girlfriend or the boyfriend, whichever. If you're a female wrestler in the business, the wrestling business is a boyfriend. As a male wrestler, it's a girlfriend. You know, I will say Dolph Ziggler said it the best. His promo that he did against The Miz, where he put his career up against him and said he pretty much was like, "This is all I have. This is all I've ever wanted. This is all I have. I don't want anything else because I can't do anything else." Wrestling is that. This is that relationship you never want to lose. That you want to give everything you have and do everything the right way and make everything done the proper and correct way, respectfully. Sometimes it doesn't work that way in wrestling. It's a relationship, but it's not it's not in like me and my girlfriend relationship. This is a me and my business relationship. Some guys unfortunately don't look at wrestling as a business. They look at it as this is a hobby because my friends and family joke and make fun of me because of it, because it doesn't pay my bills. But if you treat it like a business, and that's how I treat it now. I treat it as a 100% a business. This is a multi-million-dollar business, whether I'm making $40 or I'm making $100,000. If more younger guys would treat it as a business, they'd be more successful a little bit because they'd be treating it like it's a real life 9 to 5 job instead of a one day every weekend.
100%. Patrick, I see your question, man. I'm going to answer that in 1 second. But to go back to what you said earlier, you said a lot of wrestlers, basically what they do is they love it so much, and this is like their everything, right? It becomes your identity. Like it's not a hobby for some of these guys. Like I am a professional wrestler is what they say. Like it's who they are. So if they're not making it or they don't make it, who are they if they don't have wrestling anymore? You see it all the time. But I also think that's the problem because they want it so bad that they're afraid to mess up.
Yep.
And because they're so afraid to mess up, they won't take chances and they play really, really close to the chest, close to the vest. They become humble. And instead of making a bad impression, they actually don't make any impression at all. And that holds them back, right? So it's almost like with that girl analogy, right? The nice guy that shows up every day, does her homework for her, takes her out to dinner, buys her flowers. She'll keep him around because he's always there. But the guy that gets her is the one that isn't afraid to lose her. That's not afraid to kind of like tease her a little bit, right? Or he doesn't really need her, but he wants to be. There's a difference there. You know what I mean? That's what we have to do in wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Like 100%. Like I said, and this is why I wanted to get you on the show because from the platform that you have presented me, and a lot of other professional wrestlers and people in the business, like the platform that you provided, like is helping us get past these, little hiccups that we have in our career to surpass that. And it's great because without that, we would have that problem, I wish this was around when I first broke in. I won't lie. I've been doing this for almost 14 years. And now it's like I'm in my 13th year and it's like I'm glad I found it. Because before when I first started, I was on a roller coaster. I was on a high. I was like I had people tell me my head was this big because of the fact that I was booked all the time. Some people said it was because of my trainers. I thought it's because I was doing good work in the wrestling ring, or because I was showing up and I was doing it the right way. It didn't matter to me. I just wanted to wrestle, And then I
100%.
lost my way, and that was my problem. I lost who I was. I lost my identity. I was just that guy that was. I worked at a gym in the morning, and then I showed up and did that. And then I went back to my 9 to 5 and just didn't care. And then I lost a love for it. And then I found it again. But now I'm 13 years in, and now I just want to help people get better behind the scenes. And that literally at a show I was with Chio at, I literally was taking ringside photos and doing commentating at the same show. And I had wrestlers that were wrestling asking me what I thought about their matches. What did they do wrong? And that's one thing I was always taught. Never ask what we did right. Always ask what we did wrong in the ring. Because you can't fix what you do right. You can only fix what you did wrong and fix the mistakes. You can't fix it. Hey, I did that moonsault perfect, right? Well, yeah, but that's not what you should be worrying about. You should be worrying about the technique that you just provided in the ring because the technique was off.
You know what I found is really helpful, which I use with a lot of talent in Vegas, especially because I feel, especially when I was working, I would ask for advice, and my trainer would be like, "That was a shit," right? Like they'd always say stuff like that, or they'd bury me, or it was always like negative and one downsmanship. What I find a lot of times is wrestlers start to get paranoid, or they don't know who to turn to, or they don't trust because everybody's out to just bury them, right? So what I would do, I would watch matches. And I would always say, well, here's what you're doing really well, first of all, because if they don't hear it, what I found is they don't know to keep doing it. So I just go, hey, here's something you did really, really well. So keep doing that. It worked because of this. So like if they did something, I tell them what it was they did and what specifically they did so they can keep doing it. And I'll go, well, here's a way you can get even better. And then I'll show them the thing that they need to work on, right? But I would always point out what they did the right way so they could at least keep doing it. Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. It's good to hear positive feedback. Like I love hearing positive feedback, but I always want to know what I did wrong first. Just because, like in my mind, when I get done a match, I know if I did stuff wrong or if I knew the match wasn't that good. Like I'm already hitting myself over the head with it. So I'll go right to the main vets of the company of the show and going, why do I feel like my match wasn't good, or why do I feel like I didn't do that good? you know, and now that's the aspect of a lot of independent wrestling companies up in Pennsylvania. And we have those vets that literally, what I love is they literally do what you just said. Like they'll tell you in the very beginning, here's what was here's what didn't work for the match, and here's why it didn't work. But here's what did work for the match, and here's why that did work. Because back at like you said, you know, before like you said, you were getting hit over the head and buried because that's how it was for me in the beginning. Like I would get done a match and I'd have guys go, dude, you look like the drizzling shits. Like your forearms looked like crap, your kicks were trash, and I'm like,
or learn how to work, and they don't even tell you what that means.
And I'm like, what do you mean my forearms and kick look bad? Like what was wrong with them? Like was it the form? Was my execution bad? Was it too fast, too slow? Like what was wrong with it? And that was the thing. No one would tell you what it was. They would just said it would look like crap. Well,
Yeah.
thanks for not telling me. And then finally I had a vet tell me, they go, look, when you're doing things, you need to make it look a certain way, and it has to look this kind of way. I was like, okay, cool. Can you show me? I legit would call that. If you're going to tell me I'm doing it wrong, then show me what I did wrong. Do it to me, because I'm more of a hands-on learner. I'm not you can verbally tell me things, but I also want to see it in person for me to really pick it up. So if I see what I did wrong and then you show me how to do it the proper way, I'm like, okay, cool. Now I see what you're saying and why mine looked horrible. And that's the thing that training now these days, I wish had that. There is some schools in Pennsylvania, and in New Jersey that have that expertise to help people like that. That have been around. One of the schools been around for a long, long time, which is the Monster Factory out of Paulsboro, New Jersey. Danny
Yep.
Cage is running it. That was the Larry Sharp School originally. They've been around for years upon years because they know what they're talking about. You know what I mean? OVW is still around. It's because they know what they're talking about. They produced some of the biggest names in professional wrestling out of that facility. And then you had FCW, and then you have now the Performance Center, to where all these guys are learning top-notch wrestling. But then when they go back to the indies, they're like, oh, I never learned how to wrestle in the indies. So now I'm going to wrestle TV in the indie shows. And the fans are like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then these guys are like, what did I do wrong? Now they're asking what they did wrong after they've been on TV for 6-7 years. But I know we know we saw Pat had a question for you. His question to you earlier was, what is your favorite match of all time?
Yeah, so it wasn't a crazy pay-per-view match, and it wasn't like the typical ones you would think of. It wasn't like Austin Rock or Hogan Andre or any any of the things that you would think of, like Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart Iron Man match. No, I actually saw this match, and I call it the Rosetta Stone match. I share it with all of the people I work with. I shared it with the people in Vegas when I worked with them. Like this match, showed me. I saw the light bulb went off. I say, I understand the business now. Like it was the craziest thing. It was a 4-minute match on SmackDown, bell to bell, from 2004. Might have been 2004, 2008, in that range, when Paul Heyman was booking it. And it was Rey Mysterio versus The Undertaker on SmackDown for 4 minutes. And I'll share with you why I thought it was so cool. When you're on the independent level and you get told you have 4 minutes, what do? You start rushing, you start panicking, you try to get everything in as fast as you can. There's not enough time. This is Undertaker and Rey Mysterio. These are both main event level WrestleMania type guys, legends. 4 minutes bell to bell. It felt like a 20-minute pay-per-view match. They didn't rush. They took their time. But what they did, the entrances, was like a minute for Undertaker's entrance, a minute for Rey Mysterio's entrance. And then they had literally from bell to bell about 4 minutes. They hit all of their stuff. So basically, they started it off. Rey Mysterio drop kicks Undertaker. Undertaker goes over the top rope. Rey Mysterio goes to do a dive. Undertaker slides in, gives him a big boot. First move of the match. That's one of his signatures right there. Right? So bam, first 30 seconds of the match, Undertaker hits the big boot. Now Rey's down. So now Rey has to get up. Rey does something. He reverses it into a Hurricanrana, or one of the things that he would do.
Yep.
Bam, he hits the 619 right away. but they took their time. They didn't rush it. So then Ray goes for the West Coast pop. Undertaker catches him in the last ride. Bam, 1, 2, 3. But you would have never guessed it was 4 minutes bell to bell. Clean finish in the middle. Everybody got themselves over. I go, oh my God, that is what wrestling is. If you can just figure out a way to do that, but make it 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, it doesn't matter what else you do. You just stretch it out. But that's the basic framework of how wrestling works. If you guys want, I actually break it down. Feel free to email me or go to the Facebook group that we have. I'll put it there. But my email is innersquaredcircle@gmail.com, or you can go to facebook.com/groups, innersquaredcircle. I break the thing down, like I narrate it. So if you guys want to see it.
That's and the thing is, I remember that match.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Undertaker fan. I will say it. I don't care. We're all marks in the wrestling business. We all watched it. We all have our own favorite wrestler. If we weren't marks, we wouldn't want to wrestle. But Undertaker was always that guy that always got me intrigued in professional wrestling, just because guy comes out as the Undertaker and just slowly walks down the ramp, and everybody's like losing their mind because of this. And then I saw him wrestle, and I was like, what the hell did I just see? And then, you had Paul Bearer with, the urn, and everything he did was always good, character wise. I could believe everything he did. The fact that one of your favorite matches is that wasn't a pay-per-view. My favorite non-pay-per-view match was Jeff Hardy versus Taker.
There you go. Why? What made it that?
It was the David versus Goliath, Taker, is facing this new kid, a young kid at the time is how I looked. It was like the new kid of the block, and he's facing the big bad alpha male dude of the company of the block, and he wants to earn his keep. He wants to earn the respect of the big guy, and he doesn't give up. He's not giving up. He just keeps coming back to take this beating of a lifetime. And I think the match was only like 6 minutes, maybe 7.
Yep. That's it.
And I don't think it was long at all, because the match that you're talking about, it's almost the identical to the Jeff Hardy and Undertaker match. It wasn't a very long match. It was on SmackDown too.
Was this the ladder match, or was it just a normal match?
I think it was just a normal match.
I got to check it out now.
I don't think it was a ladder match at all.
Because I remember watching the one that I was telling you about, and I had been producing at the time. I was actually timing it as a producer to see like when they hit certain things, how long they actually had. I was amazed. I actually had people that debuted when they debuted on NXT. I had worked with them in the past. They're like, hey, they texted me. They go, I'm watching the Rosetta Stone match right now before I go out there just to get ready. So it's pretty cool.
No, it was the ladder match. So it was technically a pay-per-view.
Cool.
But it was a ladder match. I was like, I couldn't remember. I don't remember the ladder, but I remember because Taker talks about it on his special.
I thought they did a ladder match on Raw or SmackDown. They did it on free TV to get Jeff Hardy elevated.
Yeah. I always call it a pay-per-view match because it's exactly what they gave you. They didn't give you anything less than what if you were paying for, at the time it was what, $40 for the pay-per-views, 50, if you wanted to watch it in high def. But that match right there sort of made me love it even more, because it was that the match got done and Taker didn't have to do what he did. He literally helps Jeff Hardy up on the ropes, and he raises Jeff Hardy's hands. And that's why I said it's like he was fighting the big alpha dog of the block, that you wanted to earn the respect of the neighborhood or the company and, the ring general, and you earn it. It's that payoff. That payoff was everything, in my opinion, in my book. If I was in Jeff Hardy talks about it too, that's one of his favorite moments of that, because it wasn't anything that was talked about. It was just Jeff Hardy's hand gets raised by Undertaker. Like, who gets that to happen?
That's awesome.
But and I always talk about that. Like, I don't talk about that match. I always talk about my favorite match of all time. If it had to be anything, was Rock Hogan, because I was at that pay-per-view.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's another one.
That'll never get old. That'll always be with it. We'll never be able to recaptivate or reduplicate that match and that atmosphere as long as I'm alive, just because of how big those two guys were.
Yeah.
And that's, again, wrestling then compared to now isn't the same. But let's get into the Inner Squared Circle.
Yeah.
if you can give a rundown to everybody that's watching about what the inner squared circle, like how you came up with the idea, how did it start, when did it start, and then so on like that.
Man, so the Inner Squared Circle, it's a free Facebook group where guys come in. I give out wrestling advice. I do blogs. I do videos. I do Facebook Live. I do quick tips. Um, Post interviews that I have with certain guys. Like I've interviewed WWE agents there before. Guys like Hammerstone. I interview pretty good guys there too. But it started out really because I was working with guys in Vegas. So like what you said before, right? You wish you had this earlier. I wish I had it. So I started it because I wish I had it earlier. I was in the business. Basically, I was in for 6 years learning everything the wrong way, and nobody could smarten me up. And it wasn't until I finally got seen in front of a WWE producer agent where that guy pulled me aside and smartened me up. But it took me 6 years. I did everything the wrong way for 6 years, not getting any progress. Once I got smartened up, all of a sudden I made more progress in 12 months than I made in the past 6 years. So I go, oh my God, I wish I knew that sooner. But so when I started producing, I figured because I heard it years ago, I figured a lot of people knew it. When I was working with guys, it didn't matter what level they were at. They didn't know, they were making the same mistakes I was. So it was really a way for me to help the guys I was producing monthly on TV. But we would do like 4 tapings a month, but we'd do 4 episodes in one day. So I'd review the tapes and stuff, and I'd tell them my feedback, and they'd message me online. And I basically created a group to talk to everybody in one spot, right? And that's how it was. But then what ended up happening was, how it goes. Like a promoter thinks they're going to be the next, WWE. They put their tax return into it. They take out a giant loan. The company went under. The company in Vegas went under. But these guys still wanted help, so I just kept helping them, on this Facebook group. And then they started inviting their friends, and then they invited their friends. And it went from like 20 people. I think we have 1,250, and it's growing. It's growing every week. But it's totally free. You guys can feel free to come on in and join. But that's how it started.
Let's see. I always like having, because I think I lose track of how many people are in the group, because a lot of them, from the day that I did the seminar with you, some of the guys that were in the group I actually know. One of them was Corey Dillinger.
Yep.
Another gentleman, I can't remember his actual worker name, but he's from New Jersey, and now he's going to all types of things because of your system.
Really? That's awesome.
He just did some in-ring work with Kurt Angle.
No kidding.
At a
That's
seminar,
awesome.
and it's like, before, this guy was he was good. He does like a pizza gimmick kind of a deal, but it's not a pizza gimmick. But he's very talented in the ring. And then it was like, when I made a comment in there, like, hey man, get a hold of me. I want to book you on my promotion. I wasn't joking. I literally reached out to him. I was like, listen, when DEF CON Pro Wrestling gets up and running, and then the pandemic was still going on. So it kind of pushed me back even further until 2022, because I don't want to rush it. And he's still on board. But since that moment to now, he's gotten so much better with character and everything. Same thing with Corey Dillinger. Corey Dillinger has been on your software, on your system for a while now. He's like, dude, this is the most amazing thing I've ever learned.
That's awesome.
And he's one of the he's one of the Wrestle Pro guys. So he's one of the
cool. Wrestle Pros, Pat. Yeah, Pat's awesome.
I tuned in when I watched the interview you had with Pat, and I fucking loved it.
Me and Pat go way back. Yeah.
I wrestled for a company called Work Rate Entertainment that is ran by a gentleman named Keikoa Mana. He's now Keikoa, the Hawaiian Warrior. He is the MCW, I believe it's the TV champion. But he brought in a lot of Wrestle Pro and Creator Star Wrestle Pro guys from them. And then I booked them because these guys were outstanding, talented guys. Oh my God, unbelievable. Everything you could possibly think of from a training center, these guys got it. They get what is being taught to them by Pat and all of them. So when I watched you talking with Pat, I was just sitting there. I'm like, man, I want Pat's job. I just want to be a producer. That's as crazy as it sounds. I know you get it. because you've been in that role before and you've been doing this for a while. Like,
It's the
I
best
get
role
more
in the business.
exciting. I
It's
get more
way more
excited
exciting. Yeah.
producing. Like, I get more exciting. Like, I went to AEW last night in Philly, and I sat at the 200 level in the first level, and I'm taking professional grade photos on a Canon camera without a professional lens, and I'm watching their photographers walk around the ring, and I'm not gonna joke. They had one ringside photographer and 3 outside the rail, and I'm
Yep.
in my mind going, "Why? Why would they not have 2 ringside photographers and having 2 roam around the facility?" Um, that's just my personal opinion. You never want to miss those shots.
Yeah.
And that photographer never really moved. He stayed in one corner. And when I go to the WWE shows, like, I watch everybody. Like, I was watching how the producers were, the sound producers and the camera producers were, like, working with their guys, and I'm just dying watching this because I'm like, this is amazing. Like,
You know, producing, like when you're wrestling, you can only really affect your match. When you're producing, you can have an impact on so many different people, and that's the most fun part about it, is when you see the light bulb go off
Mhm.
and guys finally get it, and they go, "Oh my god, now it makes sense," or they get the results. I hear it all the time, but like my most favorite things where I'd be doing the pre-tapes with the guys, or I'd be doing the walkthroughs in the ring and like actually blocking out where they're going to be. Like it is the most rewarding job in the business.
Yep.
But even with the inner squared circle, like I still get that because I might not be in the arena with everybody, but I think I can help more people. And I hear the stories like we use Corey Dillinger, but from other people, they went like 70 email. They contacted 70 promoters and no one responded to them. Now they get booked all the time. They get flights and hotels and sponsorship deals.
Yep.
Somebody was an 11-year veteran, never got booked on TV ever, had a tryout the first time within like 3 weeks or something like that. Like seeing the light bulb go off and guys get legit results is really what I'm doing it for.
Yeah, like, I love the platform you have. Like, I have the website up, and I'm just gonna run down the list of things. Where's the website at? Oh, it went away again. My phone is not the best phone, but it is. It's an S9, but it decides that sometimes it does not want to work. So the courses that you do provide, and you help everybody with, for everybody that's listening, we have Discover Your It Factor, which has one lesson, and I love that. That was one of my favorite ones. We have the Superstar Academy, which has 57 lessons, guys. 57 lessons. I'm not going to go into the details because I know if Jared has a seminar coming up, I would absolutely have you guys tune in for that seminar and let him explain it to you guys, including he'll explain it today. We have the double your bookings. We had my favorite one of them all. This is what caught me to join in was booking emails that don't suck.
Yep.
And when I thought with booking emails don't suck, I'm like, oh, what do I need to make a new email name and that, and it was more in depth than I was expecting, and I was like, oh, I didn't think of it that way. Now I get what you're saying. Like, don't send a 4-page essay. You need to get down to the nitty gritty, and it needs, the longer it is, the less they're going to even read it.
Oh my God, yeah.
Like,
I mean, when I was booking or when I was doing the production, I'd get the emails. They would forward all the emails to me, and there's certain you just tune out after a certain amount of time because they all look the same. Believe it or not, everybody's email is the same.
Yep.
Which is crazy. But what started happening was I was working with the guys in the group. They go, "Hey, can you help me one-on-one?" So I start helping guys one-on-one, and then what I find out is you think everybody has a unique problem, right? But the funny thing is it's all unique, but they're all saying the same thing in different words. So the first one was like, "Hey, I'm a great worker, but I'm not getting any bookings." So I would start helping. One guy went from like he had a totally empty calendar. His name is Darren Corbin from the Midwest. Totally empty calendar. He went to being booked out a year in advance, and he had to take deposits up front to fill his calendar and make sure he secured the dates. So I go, okay, that's working. Whatever I told him is working. So I go, let me make a note of that. And then somebody else had the same problem. He's the guy I told you about. 70 different promoters told him no. And then he flipped it around. Now he gets like everyone tells him yes. And now he's getting flights, hotels, sponsorship deals. I go, okay, the same thing worked for a different guy. So I go, what if I just started making that like a system? And I go step by step through what I did for these two guys and put people through. So that's the double your bookings thing.
Yep.
Right. And then it would be, okay, cool. Well, how do I write these emails? I go, I used to get all these emails. They were terrible. So let me share with you what I would do. And then I did that. And then people are like, hey, well, I'm getting bookings, or I'm able to get in touch with promoters, but I still don't have a character or a package. I'm still a generic guy. So then I get into, well, how did I teach guys when I was producing? Well, I teach them to discover their it factor, create their character. So then I created that as a system, and I just started doing it from there.
Yeah, like and that's what my biggest issue was back when like I said, I wish I knew about it more, was my email issue. Um it wasn't that I didn't know how to get bookings, I just didn't know how to do it a way to where I would draw the attention of the promoter or the booker to be invested in me, you know. And over time I figured out ways that worked and what didn't work, and then the booking emails that don't suck does help. And not just for the wrestling way, for my production company. Like, I bought Sling Studio. I wish I would have went with a different version and not Sling Studio, but I have a professional grade production equipment stuff, without the high end cameras, because that's my next step when I have my loan. But this has helped me get bookings for my production,
Yep.
and doing the photography. Like, I'm doing a lot more than just the wrestling portion of it. I'm using it to benefit in a business standpoint. And that's what
100%.
I'm saying. I wish guys in the business and wrestlers would take this more as a business than just as a hobby, because your platform can help. Honestly, your platform, the Inner Squared Circle, could help anybody in a business aspect, because of how to present an email properly to get that attention of anybody. If you want to get a sponsorship, here's how you get a sponsorship. Now, I've been doing charity work and things like that all my entire life, so I can getting sponsorships, piece of cake. I've never had issues getting sponsors for a wrestling event or my bike ride or a charity event, anything. I could go to someone and sit down with them and explain to them why it's important to me that they join on board. And here's how they're gonna benefit from it, from me, and what I'm gonna do that they can benefit off of it. Um, and it's worked ever since. But I also came with, my dad had a DJ company, so I'm a very easy. I could talk to anybody about anything. Um, I don't have that stage fright of, here's your microphone, kid, go out there and talk in front of,
Yep.
500 people. Great. What can I say? Don't curse. Oh, that's kind of hard. But I'm gonna do my best and not curse. But am I the good guy or the bad guy? Oh, you're the bad guy. Sweet. This is right down my alley. I'm gonna have them wanting to literally beat me over the head with a baseball bat.
That's awesome.
Just because I'm that guy. Like, again, I understand my character more now. And again, your stuff has helped me a lot. My trainers have helped me a lot to understand, like, the psychology portion of wrestling, and then watching stuff on TV and then seeing it in person now. Like, that was yet last night was the first time, honestly, I went to a wrestling event as a fan for a major company. And I was in awe. Like, I enjoyed every little aspect of it. And people say you can't be a fan if you're in the wrestling business. Well, honestly, you can, because I enjoyed every little bit of it last night of seeing CM Punk and Chris Jericho come out. But it was also to see how they do their stuff. Like, they did 2 tapings in the very beginning, and then they went live, and then they did another taping afterwards. And when I say they started on time at 7 o'clock, they started at 7 o'clock.
You have to.
Their very first match was at 7 o'clock on the dot. They had their last match before they went live on Dynamite at 7:45. They had the ring out. They had everybody out of the ring by 7:49, and by 7:50, the elite and everybody were already coming out to the ring.
You
On
have to.
YouTube.
You have to have it timed. You have to have it timed out to the second. There's someone in the production truck with a stopwatch. And there's a format sheet that literally says opening video package is 1:02, and then it's going to say entrance number 1 match. It's going to be down to the second how long the commercial break is, how long the commentator on camera is going to be. They have to time it out, otherwise they're going to go over their time, or they're going to have to pay more money. It's insane, like the level of precision you have to have. Like, it takes the whole
100%.
pit crew.
Like, I run shows now. When I go to shows, I also have professional grade earbuds and walkies for referees. And now when I'm at shows, like, I literally get told by promoters, "Can you bring your headset and can you be in charge of the matches on time?" Absolutely. I don't care if it's this little portion of being a producer that still makes me excited, because it's up to me to make sure these matches don't run any longer and the show goes from start to finish when they want it to be. Um, because key is gold. And this comes from guys that have worked for WWE. Like, my trainers trained Steve Carino, and he literally tells you that if you go over time, you're taking time away from other workers for later on in the show. WrestleMania is the biggest show of the year, and it proves it. But again, your platform helps people outside of the wrestling school, because you can learn how to bump and talk on a promo and do this and that in wrestling ring all day long at your training center. But this is the platform that where you can learn stuff on your own from home instead of watching YouTube videos of this is this guy's promo and this is how this guy's character is. You're actually breaking it down for people, you know, to the simplest, like, here's why you shouldn't, do this. Here's why this didn't work for this guy as a character. Here's why this worked as a person as a character. Here's why this isn't working for your factor, but here's how this could work for your factor. You're
Yeah, I
helping
think that
people's brains work.
Man, I'm really happy that you're getting so much out of it. That's what I thought was the biggest gap because, like, hey, I was in wrestling for such a long time. I knew how to wrestle. I knew how to have a good match. I knew how to tell a story. What I was missing was all this other stuff that no one could tell me that I couldn't learn from wrestling school. And that's what I really wanted to bring into it. What's all the intangible stuff that I can't hear from my trainer just learning how to bump? Like my trainer. Well, actually, there was one guy that said, "Hey, I can teach you how to wrestle, but I can't teach you how to get bookings. I can't teach you how to negotiate. I can't teach you how to do TV type production." I wanted to bring this in so that way guys had the access to it. But yeah, if you guys are interested, feel free to join. It's a free Facebook group, facebook.com/group/inner squared circle, man. Love to have you. Say that you came from the Body Slams podcast.
Absolutely. I recommend anybody that's watching this, including you, Chio. Again, Chio is our main guy that's behind the scenes right now for the episode today. Usually it's me, him, Mikey, and our other guy, Austin. We're just, shooting the shit and having a good old time. But there was one question that came from somebody. It says, "Does Jared have classes for everything else behind the scenes, non-wrestling related?"
Meaning like production?
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done it yet because I didn't think there'd be a big enough demand for it. But that's actually one of my favorite things to talk about was producing, how to do the cameras, how to set it up, how to make the show look a certain way, what I would look for. I didn't think there'd be enough people that wanted to hear that. So what I focused on was wrestlers, character development, confidence in the ring, in-ring work, bookings and marketability, charisma and promos. But if that's something people would like to hear more of, I'm sure I could put something together in regards to production.
Like, I know I would definitely invest into that as well. Because I think it would help as a wrestler as well. Because if you think about it, as from a wrestling standpoint, if I had the knowledge of how to produce matches then and how the camera where the cameras are and why I need to work a certain angle at this way than that way, I would have been so far off with my videos of matches that would have been TV quality. I probably would have wrestled on TV by now, because I would have made sure they everything I did was quality of a TV. Now I do. Now I know, hey, here's my roam cam, that's my hard cam, and I got to focus on my hard cam. But when I do things that are not facing the hard cam, I make sure that roam camera is getting me every time. Because
100%.
And that comes from Steve Carino. Know where your cameras are. Know where you are in your ring. Whether it's for a promo, whether it's for just a 30-second vignette, like you come out of the ring and you don't even say anything. AKA Chris Jericho when he came back and just ran around the ring for 2.5 to 3 minutes just screaming. I won't lie, I hated it. But I loved it at the same time. I was like, I wanted them to freaking talk. That's all I wanted to see them do. I wanted them to talk. But I didn't get it at the time. And someone goes, "You didn't get it." He didn't have to say anything. He just had to show up and run around the ring like a nutcase, and the place went nuts. And I'm like, I didn't think of it that way, actually. He goes, but he stopped every time he got towards a roam cam. He stopped and looked at the camera, looked around, screamed, and ran around some more. He would always find that camera and make sure that the people at home saw him. not just in the venue. They go, and that's what my trainers were always pushing into my brain was he knows his character, he knows his it factor, he knows what level he needs to be. If he needs to be up here, he can be here. But if he needs to, he can bring it back down here to be in the neutral spot, or does he need to bring it down a little bit to where the fans aren't always hype and they're down and quiet until they hit that roller coaster drop again.
Yeah.
And that was what I learned from them.
A lot of veterans look for footwork to see if someone's good or not, and I think that makes sense. I always look for, do they know where the cameras are?
Yep.
And if they could do that, I'm like, okay, they're a pro. Like if they could figure out the cameras, they were a pro.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like when I go to shows now, I get yelled at when I ask the promoter. I was like, "How many cameras do you have?" They go, "What do you mean?" Well, for filming, do you film your mat? Do you film the shows? He goes, "Yeah," but like, well, how many cameras do you have? He goes, "Oh, just that one right there. That one that looks, it's a webcam.
I saw
That's your
saw
camera?"
someone filming a show with a cell phone taped to a broomstick before. It was awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, they
Now
taped the
that
cell
is the
phone to a
great. That
broomstick.
is by far the best thing I've ever heard so
Yeah,
far
it was
on
phenomenal.
filming matches.
It was
I thought the
phenomenal.
webcam was bad and great, but no, that's just even better.
It was duct taped to a broomstick. It was awesome.
So we have about 5 minutes left. I got the 5 minute cue from
He gave you
Chio.
the
He gave me the 5 minute cue. Like I said, we run this show. We try to run this show on time and on point as much as we can. Sometimes we veer off, and that's what's great about podcasts and interviews. We don't want to keep it like it's a piece of paper and stay on track like that, because at the same time, no one's really gonna. Sometimes it doesn't help anybody that's watching. They want to actually hear you be you and enjoy yourself when you're doing this stuff. So my one main question would be for you, if you could take one thing you've been passing knowledge on to the younger kids of today with all the stuff through the inner squared circle, what would you what would you give yourself advice to, you say 20 years from now, or 20 years ago when you were starting in the business? Like, what advice that you've given now to help people would you want yourself to have then?
I'd say a couple of things. First of all, I'd say the most passionate and talented wrestler doesn't always win. It's the most marketable wrestler that wins. I would also say get in the best shape of your life. I didn't take physical fitness or the way I looked seriously until I was like 6 years in. And the other thing too, they always say perception's reality, right? So we take that in and we go, okay, that means my character, my gimmick. What that means now that I'm older and now that I've experienced some life and now that I've seen some ups and downs in wrestling, perception's reality, but it's what you perceive yourself to be, right? So like if you walk in and you are timid or afraid or not sure of yourself or think you might not deserve to be there, the promoter is going to feel that energy from you. So it's not like a lot of people think confidence means being dominant or being aggressive or being like a jackass or something like that. If you could actually have like grounded confidence where you know that you belong there, like you deserve to be there, the other person's going to feel that, and it's going to get you so much further than if you were anything else. Does that make sense?
No, that does. No, that makes great sense, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. More so than anything else, I would say make sure that you and yourself believe you deserve to be there. And if you do that, like a lot of this is forgiving. You know, you can mess up here and there. You don't have to be the best worker. But if you're marketable and you believe that you can be there, you're going to go a lot further than a lot more guys.
Oh, absolutely. Like, talking about mistakes and making errors. The fact that the big thing everybody was making fun of is I think it was Kenny Omega. Yeah, Kenny Omega and Joey Janela both made mistakes last night. Joey Janela's match is on Rampage, or it was a dark match. It was one of those two. But he made a mistake last night, and the crowd lit him up. But Kenny Omega, the biggest star in professional wrestling as we know it right now, that is not a WWE wrestler, made a huge mistake last night, and people made fun of him. But it shows that even the biggest stars on the biggest stages and the biggest platforms make errors. And it's the fact that he didn't make it like show like he was upset about it. he showed people like, it happens. Like, he didn't care. No care whatsoever last night, live on television, that, millions of people just saw you try to power bomb someone and fall straight on your ass. And I made a joke about it last night with someone sitting next to me. I go, well, he did try to pick up a really big guy. Like, I'm just gonna go there. Like, that was not some 5'2", 5'8" looking dude. This was a 6 foot tall, big man. I go, and it happens. Like, in wrestling, mistakes happen, errors happen, whether they're catastrophic to something silly and funny. But no, I love that. Like, I love the fact that it's, people are scared of, and I know you might agree, people are scared to make mistakes in a wrestling ring. Whether it's, a promo mistake or a wrestling move mistake. Like, I don't look at wrestling as I'm going to go out there to make a mistake. Now I look at it as, what can I do as simple as possible and make the best story and compelling match I can give these fans in 10 minutes.
Or they're afraid to make mistakes backstage. Because that's what I found too, is a lot of wrestlers, what they'll do is, they'll be like, oh, whatever you want me to do, sir. And they think they're trying to be polite. I would much rather have somebody like actually believe that they could be the next Hogan, Rock, Austin, CM Punk. Like, if they, not like they're going to be a jerk about it, but if they actually believe that and show up and talk to me with confidence, it's going to take them a lot further. But it's the people that are afraid to stand out because they don't think they deserve to be there, or they don't want to rock the boat, or they're not, they don't want to mess up. Those are the guys you see that they always show up super early. They're always setting up the ring, but then it's like at the high school dance when you're trying to wait for the girl to come ask you to dance, right? They wait on the sidelines and nothing's happening for them. It's not that like doing that stuff is bad, but if that's all you're doing and you're not talking to anybody, you're not making yourself known, you're not confident or anything like that, you'll be stuck doing that for a long time. So I think the belief in putting yourself out there is way more important.
I agree. 100% agree. I'm always telling. I'm 100% a believer in, if you believe in yourself, you can make anything possibly happen. And I have a 9-year-old little girl, and I always tell her, if whatever she wants to do in life, go for it. Don't listen to anybody else. Just believe in what you want to do and go for it. I tell my girlfriend the same thing. She, whatever you like, I believe myself as I'm a professional wrestler. I don't believe that I'm a weekend warrior or, a jobber. I'm a professional wrestler, and I've been that way for 13 years. It'll never change. I'm a professional athlete. I'm a professional stuntman, because that's how I have to explain it to some people. Like, professional wrestlers, we are professional stuntmen because yes, everybody knows we train to be professional wrestlers. We train to learn how to fight. We could go to a movie scene and do a fight scene if we had to, and it'd be amazing because we are trained professional athletes. And you don't have to be a professional athlete to become a pro wrestler, but if you believe in yourself, like you said, anything is possible. And the inner squared circle, you help people believe in themselves in every aspect of it. With, like, again, and I bring it up all the time. It's that Superstar Academy. It's the double your bookings. It's the emails that don't suck. Everything that's in there that you provided me and everybody else. It's you're believing in us. We believe in you to help us, but you're believing in us to pass this knowledge on to us and to believe in ourselves to take it further. And some guys might fail at it. Some of us might succeed at it, but you make it known, like, hey, look, you have to believe in the process. You have to believe in yourself, because if you don't, it'll never work if you stop believing in yourself. When you believe in yourself, it's just an uphill, beautiful ride. It's like going to the top of Mount Everest and getting that vantage point of being like, wow, I actually got here. I am at the top of my peak. I'm where I want to be in my life, in my career. And bam, it's because people had me believe in myself. But I know, Chio, come back in the room. I know you're waiting. But before we leave, I wanted Chio to come back in the room. But again, Jared, man, I can't thank you enough, because again, your platform has helped me, not just in the wrestling ring for business, but like as a production person and trying to get into the producing world for it has helped me better. So I can't thank you enough for the platform you're providing. That again, I wish was around 13 years ago, but now that I have it, I'm gonna keep using it like every day. Like I literally have that. Like I said, I train people at ACPW, and I'm hoping the trainees tuned in today, because if not, they're doing 1,000 Hindu squats. But I know one of them was 100% already going to be joining on the system and the platform, because he wants to get better, because he's having issues figuring out his character, and we can provide him with all the information we can possibly help him with. But he also wants to learn how to do it from another person's perspective that he doesn't know. So I know
Awesome.
he's looking to join in, because he's looked at some of the stuff that I've done through the platform and the system, and he's like, I'm in. He's sold. Now it's just, will he pull the trigger? And I'm hoping he does. Hoping
Awesome.
all of my students pull the trigger, because if I benefit from it, they will benefit from it, and it would be good.
I appreciate it, man, and that's what makes me do it. Because when I'm doing this stuff every day, I'm like behind my phone, behind my computer, like typing stuff. Sometimes you don't see the results. Like I just think I'm putting it out there and no one's listening. Do you know what I mean? But like hearing the results, it's awesome. Keeps me going a little bit. And yeah, man, if you even want me to help you guys out at the school or something, I can do a seminar, Zoom, something like that. But
Okay.
yeah, really appreciate you guys having me on. For sure. Thank you, Dennis. Chio, appreciate you, man. And
yeah, I just want to say, I'm sorry for cutting you off. I just want to say thank you. I was the one who actually made the comment to Dennis in the chat about do you have any other classes besides wrestling related as a wrestler? Because between Dennis and me working behind the scenes constantly trying to help other promotions get better, I have like a 27-year career in the business. I'm 45 now. I had at least 3 years prior, because in Pennsylvania you have to be 18 to wrestle. So I got around the business when I was 15 years old. So I had the opportunity to watch and study the do's and don'ts as I within those 3 years before I even had my first match. So from the learning tree, as everybody says, you need to sit down with the old school wrestlers. They'll teach you this and that, and which I was very, very fundamental to have that on my side with learning guys who learned from like Jeff Gripley. He learned from Larry Sharp and the Monster Factory when was his. I learned from Damian Kane, which learned from Killer Kowalski. Damian Kane, what a lot of people don't realize, it's not talked about as much. He has a hand in molding Paul Heyman to what he is today, but it's not talked about a lot at all. So and I praise him every day, because what I seen him doing then, and now he's about to come full circle one more time. He's about to get back into the business. And I thank him all the time, because now when you said about the school and stuff, I didn't mention this to Dennis, but I have a lead on a building that potentially maybe school type venue to run shows as well as have everything just set up and stay, production and everything. So I'm waiting to talk to the people, see the building, find out things. And that's something where I would love to have you come in, Jared, and share your knowledge, like the do's, the don'ts, what's right, what's wrong, how can we better ourselves, even when we have other, and at the same time bring other talent in for seminars, not just for production, but for wrestling related bookings and everything that you put out there. Which what I'm going to do is your links, I'm going to take them, I'm going to put them on our bodyslams.pro page, which when you go to our page, we have two sections. One's for podcasts and one's for everything else. The everything else section, that page is similar to what you're doing. What it is, it's given the boys and girls and promoters of stuff that they need, as far as I don't advertise wrestlers at all because there's a million of them out there in the world. I just advertise ring announcers, commentators, referees, gear makers, people who like boots, masks, whatever, people who make music. I try to give them everything else but the wrestlers so they can reach out and see what they're missing out on, and whatnot. And I'm still trying to grow it a little more. And also, I have some other people who do seminars. I have them linked up, and as well, like I said, I have Bob Evans on there too as well. So you will fit in perfectly for in the education section to help guide these guys that are out
Very
there
cool.
and who are aspiring. So
Awesome.
so that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put you out there. I'm gonna plug the hell out of you.
Thanks, Gio. I appreciate that, man. That's awesome.
You can go there and you can be everyone can go to your page and put in promo code body slams or whatever. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And one of the things that did stick out to me is when you mentioned about knowing where your cameras are, because that happened to me several times where like I was up north, I got busted out of nowhere. It wasn't even planned, and they're running out there with towels and stuff, trying to cover my head, trying to cover the blood, and they're asking if I'm okay. The first thing I asked was, "Where's the camera?" And they said, "Behind you." And I just turned around with a big grin on my face, and I put that shot because at the time I had dyed blonde hair, so it looked beautiful, that blood scene showing up on the camera. So
Awesome.
so that's one of the things. Like I popped in my seat while you were talking with Dennis. It was about look where the cameras are, know your location, where this, that, sell, get your face. And I tell guys that green guys now, look for the hard cam, okay, but then you want your mobile cam, but look at your photographers too. If you're putting on a chin lock on somebody, get it right there. They see you got the lock on. They see the agony of pain of your opponent too, because that facial expression is everything for people who are not there and they're just checking you out online in pictures and stuff.
100%. Awesome, guys. Hey, I appreciate you having me on so much. And if anybody's listening, feel free, join the free group. It's facebook.com/groups/inner squared circle. It's totally free. Or we have the lead page there. It's a website, but it's innersquaredcircle.lpages.co. So it's right there on the screen.
Awesome, man. Again, Jared, I appreciate you taking the time out of your night to come on here. When we were looking for guests, like first thing I said that the Chio is like, I have somebody in mind. Hold up for October, and I immediately reached out to you
Thanks,
because I know this would be something that I'm gonna be. I benefit from it every day, but I know a lot of people don't have your Facebook groups and your pages, but they do tune in for this, so I want them to see that that we're not just here to talk to independent. We're not here to talk to wrestlers. We're here to talk to anybody in the wrestling business, training or not. So again, thank you for coming on. And again, I can't wait to, get back into the learning.
Yeah.
Like I have it on my cell phone,
Sweet.
my tablet, and my laptop. So like I'm literally looking at stuff all the time.
Awesome. It was fun, guys. Thanks a lot, man. Have a good rest of your show.
You too, Jared. Thank you.
Later. Bye.
Oh, that was awesome. I'm glad you got to connect.
Look, like I said, there's things that I can pull off. There's things that I can do, and then there's things that I can do. Well, when we discussed getting people on the show, that was one of those like, absolutely, I wanted him on here. This is going to help a lot of guys out in the wrestling business.
Well, I'm glad you did, because one of the things that that I wasn't sure about was who he was originally, because I knew Bob Evans from being up in this area and stuff like that. And when you told me who he was and I tried looking him up, I couldn't research him like I wanted to, like I do everyone else. I look at the product, I look at the background, and I didn't have nothing to go off of. So I'm glad that you took lead on this and I was able to when the show started, you sent me the link. I was able, as you're talking to him, go through my phone and check out the page a little bit too at the same time. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave the links up there on the page for the rest of the show, so people who are just tuning in, they can check them out too as well.
I gotta pull up my
Uh,
PDF now because I closed the link of our topics and our show list because
no,
like
it's
I
all right.
like our PDF. I do like it at the hand in my hand.
Now,
We're forgetting
now at
somebody though, right?
now at the top of the show, I said T wasn't going to be here tonight because he wasn't feeling well. Um, Austin, unfortunately, he's not going to make it tonight too as well. But I
Nope.
think, hold up, I think it's just us two now, right? I don't think we have anybody else.
No.
Why?
There's
No.
somebody else. There's another dude in the green room.
Ah, man, who is that guy that we keep forgetting about, man?
Is it the bologna and mayonnaise guy?
No.
Well, I got bologna and mayonnaise. It's delicious.
Well, I guess we just got to keep going on with the show without whoever it is.
I know who it is. I know who it is.
I don't know who. Wait. Damn it, he showed up. What up, Mike?
Hey, fellas.
Cheeto, I thought you were in charge of the room.
Man, I was hacked.
You only let the important people in. Oh, that's right. We do have the important person. It's the better Bernard.
That's right, the better Bernard. Exactly.
Oh,
no blue check needed.
Well, yeah,
I love it.
I tell you this one thing for sure. Tonight's going to be a short show because we're not really going to get into a lot of stuff. We're not going to get into WWE. We're not going to get into any other rumors and stuff. Everybody out there probably already seen about AJ Lee joining WOW. Wow.
Yeah.
But the thing we're going to get into what happened yesterday, which you already highlighted on a lot of stuff. I printed out what I did from AEW in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. That's right. Right there on Broad Street. Yesterday, we did pop-up pipe bombs. Dennis was on location in the field. Really didn't get too many interviews because
I was a little let down.
Well,
I won't lie.
Before we went
live, before we went live, I'm not just going to show cameras and stuff like that. I walked around. I was asking fans questions, and if they wanted to be, we're going to go live on the internet, on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, or on Twitch, because we have a podcast called Breakfast and Body Slams, but our specials that we do is called Pipe Up, Pipe Bomb. And people were like, "No, we really don't want to." I'm like, "Okay." I'm thinking it's because they played hooky from work, and they didn't want no one to know, But I was asking those questions like, "Who do they think the Joker is?" So I didn't want to just not have something there. Luckily we had people show up that we knew.
I did, however, like the Cody Rhodes kid.
Yeah, the Cody Rhodes kid had the most dopest outfit. Again, I will say, I never had that fly of an outfit when I was a kid ever. He had the hair slicked back, the outfit just like, I could probably be his kid. This might not be my dad, but hey, we don't know.
And for people who did miss pop-up pipe bomb yesterday, because it was about we went live about 4:30 and stuff. We had a couple little treats. We had some screenshots posted on the Body Slams podcast page as well as Twitter and other stuff. You got to see CM Punk walking his dog.
And he waved. He waved to me.
It wasn't much of a real good close-up shot because he was at a far distance, though. But we did get a close-up of Dennis and his mug in the camera with Leva Bates in the background waving to the show as we were live.
And we did have someone comment on there that they didn't think that CM Punk, there wasn't really no energy. So before CM Punk came out, I didn't know what was said yet because I wasn't there when he came out with the dog. But he did come up where people, because I did hear stuff in the background, but I never thought of anything. I thought someone just drove in or whatever. He did come up and he did say to people before he brought the dog up, "Hey, look, I don't mind you guys cheering for me or anything," but he goes, "But I got to walk my dog, and my dog is very skittish." Could we not scream when we bring my dog up to go for a walk? Everybody respects that. But he also asked people to stay somewhat apart from him because the wrestlers are being told they're not allowed to really like take photos with the fans because of COVID.
Yeah.
That's why I took a picture with
That's why they're still trying to be strict with the COVID regulations, but at the same time they're trying, but they don't want to shun off their fans or anything like that. So
some wrestlers were taking the selfies and pictures with them, but some of them other ones are still sticking to the high end protocol. CM Punk is one of them. You know, I get it. You know, he is not as young as he used to be. You know, like some of these young kids that, you know, unfortunately, you know, they have a better immune system. But
and he's a top name too.
Fact that Philly people respected that man's wish. We're Philadelphia. We're rowdy. We're rambunctious. We don't listen to people's authority.
No, not at all.
But
no,
the fact
not really.
That he came up before that and asked people to, you know, chill, just not to be too loud, and they did that. That was class. She was. I think she also said she was kind of surprised that he didn't have any security around him. Trust me, ma'am. He had security around him. You just didn't know where. He literally had 4 or 5 people walking around in regular street clothes.
All right.
Wow.
I heard you mention earlier when you were talking to Jared that they did do some tapings in the beginning and they did a taping at the end. But we're gonna talk about what was on TV, what you saw at the top of the hour at when they started.
7:50 p.m. on YouTube.
And they kicked off the show with the Super Elite, Kenny Omega, Adam Cole, and the Jacksons. Well, you know, the Young Bucks.
The Young Bucks.
As they defeated Bryan Danielson, Christian Cage, and Jurassic Express. Guys, input. Well, I know what I'm gonna hear.
I thought it was a great match. I really did.
What was your favorite part what was your favorite parts of the match, Mikey?
My favorite parts were, of course, the hot spots with Bryan Danielson and fighting with Kenny Omega. My God, that's just like I love seeing that. I love watching those two work together.
See, I noticed, Dennis. Now we got to get Mikey to be more in depth, analyze these matches instead of just watching it as a fan. You're like, oh yeah, I like that. That was great. No, you got to pick it apart and analyze stuff from here on out. When we start, this is going to be your training season right now. Between now to the beginning of November, when we switch schedules. Between now and then, you got to train your mind. You got to get your notebook out. When the show is on, take notes so that way you have stuff to go back and reference instead of, yeah, that was great. I really like that. I enjoyed it.
Look.
Yes, I'm going to get on you, Mikey.
I'm going to say this way.
If you're going to be the better Bernard, the Saint Bernard, you need to step up your game, buddy, because cheesecake and the knob gobbler, you know, those guys are gunning for you. All right.
Look,
yes, they are.
Last night's
yes,
atmosphere was awesome. Okay, just gonna put it out there. Absolutely awesome. I enjoyed it as a fan. I didn't analyze. Well, I did analyze stuff, but I didn't watch as a wrestler fully. When you watch wrestling, you always watch it as a wrestler. You're picking up things they're doing. But I enjoyed it as a fan. I literally told my girl in a message that I enjoyed every little bit of it. That last night woke up the fan in me because it's hard for a wrestler to be a fan at an actual event because we get judged. Oh, you shouldn't take photos with these guys. Yeah. I'll tell you right now, I have photos with workers last night that I will post, and I don't care. I
like the fact when they came on the air, they kicked off with the
introductions.
Both teams already in the ring. We don't have to sit around and wait for the intros, which you guys got to see the intros.
Well, no, here's the thing. They did show the intros. What they did is at 7:50, they went live on YouTube. So from 7:50 to 8, they had the entrances live.
No. I get that, but what I'm saying, when they actually went live on regular
On TV, you already had them in the ring.
Yes.
And it was awesome that way because again, you're saving. I'll say it this way. So the Young Bucks they came out first, okay? Then they had Adam Cole, and then they had Omega. Adam Cole, without a doubt, had the loudest pop of the night. In my professional opinion, besides Jericho and Punk, Adam Cole is the youngest out of the entire roster almost, okay? That has been around for years. Loudest pop of the night. He, without a doubt, has those fans like this. Like, here's his palm. You just paid. He's made his money. He doesn't have to do anything.
I actually liked when Ko, it looked like he was gonna dive, and then he
stopped.
In the middle of the.
And then turns around and gets Daniel Bryan's and just gets him, and it was beautiful. I liked everything about the match. I feel bad for Kenny Omega with the botch.
Yes,
but
I did
listen,
see that.
Luchasaurus is a giant.
I actually caught 2 botches, I believe. There was one with the power bomb, and the one when the Meltzer driver, I think they call it, where they springboard off the middle rope. The other one has them in a tombstone. And I think he went down before, or he didn't even connect all the way when he came off. You might have to go back and watch it.
Yeah.
No. Is when he did it to the outside, the Christian Cage?
Yes. When they were outside the ring.
It was a botch.
He didn't. He barely caught him.
Sometimes they barely do hit it.
Yeah.
As snug inside the ring, they do hit it pretty much.
Yeah,
smack in the face, but they were outside the ring. I think it was more of a safety thing than anything. Also, that's high in the air to come down to the floor. I'm not gonna lie. But that match, I'm not even gonna rate any of these matches. That's the last thing I'm gonna do. I loved it. I still loved the entire match.
Then after that,
I noticed that I did notice that the commentators actually went the botch with Kenny Omega trying to doing the power bomb and land on his rear end.
If you notice,
the commentators played to it, said, "Well, he's a big guy, so that's what happened there."
Besides Kenny,
who
the
are
other
the commentators?
as well.
Who are the commentators? Think about that.
Jim Ross.
That's true. Jim. That's because they can't forget Jim Ross.
I'm not even worried about Excalibur. No offense, I just don't care about the guy. That's why I think the only guy in the company I'm not a fan of. And it's another person. I don't know. I'm not a fan of him yet. I wasn't a fan of Corey Graves in the beginning either, and now I think the dude's phenomenal on the commentating. I
like Excalibur's commentary. I wish eventually, I know it's his stitch with the mask and stuff from being on the indies and stuff like that too. Eventually, I'm thinking maybe eventually he probably have to lose it.
No, I think that's what makes him sets him apart.
Yeah.
Like JR's is his hat.
Yeah.
Like Jerry the King Lawler is the crown. Like you can't take that away. They have that identity thing. But the reason that match that spot didn't sound as bad is because of who was on commentating, and they made it come across the way it needed to be because you had 2 seasoned vets sitting there. Period. Without them, it'll never would have happened.
Well, following that match, there was a segment with Jon Moxley talking about the ladder match and the belt and stuff. But then it quickly came back around to another promo with CM Punk.
Yep. So what they did is they did the Moxley one, and there's a delay on the TV. I'm going to say it right now because I was watching it through my cell phone when I went in line to get food, and there's about a good 3-minute delay before you guys, no matter what. I don't know if it's 3 minutes, but it just took 3 minutes on my end. we saw the screen pop up that CM Punk was going to talk next. We didn't know he was coming to the ring though. They didn't say anything. It just said CM Punk talks next. So we were thinking we were getting another backstage promo. And then out of nowhere, the music hits. And I mean, that place erupted.
Now, I got a question. I hope Pat and them are listening. Especially your brother Chuck. Was Punk talking about him when he said about cheesecake or cheesesteaks?
Yo, he botched that so bad. Listen, you don't understand the atmosphere of that botch. As soon as he did that, pissed.
It was like you can hear it where you know they wanted to boo so bad.
No, they did boo. They were booing.
No, but not like boo, like really boo. Like there was, I heard boos, but it's like they were like holding back too at the same time. They're like boo, you know, like. But
oh no, they definitely held back. But I can tell you, being in the venue, there was a lot of boos. Like there was a F Ben Simmons chant last night, which will air on Friday night on Rampage. So if you tune into Rampage, when I say you will laugh if you're a 76ers fan, or even if you're a basketball fan and you think Ben Simmons is a dick.
Oh, cheesecake. I mean, Cheesesteak Chucky will appreciate that.
I appreciate it because I was chanting with them. But no, the promo was great. And what was great about it is everybody wanted to see CM Punk. You got to see CM Punk. You got to hear CM Punk. And what does he say next? Daniel Garcia, I'm going to face you on Rampage next.
Yeah. Which Rampage was filmed, though, right afterward, wasn't it?
Yes. So their platform is they did AEW Dark, right? From 7 to 7. I want to say like 7.
Ain't that Dark Elevation? Because ain't Dark filmed in the studio now? They have the studio.
No, they did both. They filmed 3 different shows yesterday. So they did 3 matches of Dark Elevation, and then went right to AEW Dynamite. And then after Dynamite, then they did Rampage. But if you watch it all, if you watch Elevation and you watch AEW Dark and Dynamite, the ring and everything's the same. Rampage is a complete teardown. They took 5 canvases off for the custom Rampage canvas. They took all the
ring skirts
down. They took
all the logos.
The logos on the rails are velcroed and taped, and they're literally yanking them off. They tore everything down. So at one point, we're thinking we're not getting commentators because they pretty much put everything away. Every commentator has their own set of headsets. So they literally packed up everybody's from AEW Dynamite and put them away. And then brought other ones out for Jericho and all them, which was kind of cool because it's stuff you don't see. This is that production value that I said I was enjoying very much last night.
Right.
Seeing some things that you don't get to see in WWE. You don't get to see that kind of change because it's the same commentators all night. You know, you don't get commentators for dark matches. There's nobody there. And that's one thing that sets AEW apart. They have so many shows. And the best part was, I will say this, at the end of the night, at the end of Dynamite, I will say Tony Khan came out.
Okay.
It wasn't on the air.
Well,
yeah.
How about let's save that until we get through the rest of the show, and then you can tell us what Tony said.
Yep.
All right. So following that CM Punk promo, since he talked about seeing Daniel Garcia on Rampage, we got to see the little vignette with Arn Anderson with a fire outside of Cody Rhodes' home. Cody coming out, asking what the hell he's doing, that kind of stuff, and
it's bitch slapped.
Yeah, exactly.
My face hurt from that slap, and we weren't even watching it live.
And that pretty pink tie gets set ablaze.
And that was another downfall.
He threw it in there.
I will say that is one down. That was one letdown last night.
I made a comment in the chat room about the whole thing with Cody and Arn, and this is just me throwing in left field, being a goofball. I said, what if it's a inside plan? Just as whatever they have back behind the scenes. I said, what if it's a plan between Arn and Tully to build their own version of the Horsemen with Cody, FTR, and whoever else. That would be hot.
I could see it. I honestly can. I won't even deny that. I could see it 100%.
And Cody and Arn being in cahoots with each other. So, but then
It makes sense.
But then we moved on from that bonfire with the tie to the TNT Championship with Sammy Guevara taking on former NXT star Bobby Fish making his appearance.
Dude, people were I'll say this, people were, when we went off our Pipe Bomb podcast earlier in the day, people were excited for that match. First off, I like Sammy Guevara, and I'm a big Bobby Fish fan, okay? I've never seen either one of them work in the ring like in front of me. I can watch it on TV and YouTube all day long, but to get to see them in the ring was without a doubt, I loved every little part of it.
I gotta ask one thing. When Fish was there, because I know sometimes the cameras don't pick up all the audio from the fans. Was there any of the fans chanting welcome back, meaning like back to Philadelphia, or the words ROH for Fish? None? Huh.
No ROH chance whatsoever last night.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising for me because with Bobby Fish being a big part of ROH with Kyle O'Reilly as Red Dragon and stuff, they held it down.
And his entrance it did say Red Dragon. Like he did come at, like his entrance video, I'm 99% sure is Red Dragon's entrance video.
And I did hear them mention Red Dragon on commentary. So,
but I will say this, I don't know if I'm going to get in trouble for it, but I know Bobby Fish is an official person of AEW.
An official?
Like he's officially a part of AEW.
Yeah, I was going to say officially signed with them.
Not just a one-time thing.
And then
oh boy.
And then following that match, we seen the Men of the Year and America's Top Team swarmed the ring. They surrounded Guevara. And
start jumping them.
And they beat the hell out of them.
Shots. Junior Dos Santos, he was down there laying in those elbows and stuff. Yeah, and then Fuego came out and he just got his ass beat too. Then.
Yeah.
Listen. I'm gonna say it this way. I didn't think Jericho was showing up, okay, because he's on tour with Fozzy. Yeah. And there wasn't much of a layover between their next concert. I didn't think. I thought I was like, I know they have. They're not. I knew they weren't performing last night. But I know I was pretty sure they had a show today. So I was like, Jericho is not coming in for one show and flying right back out for a 30-second spot, maybe a 4-minute spot.
And then afterwards they had that.
I shut my mouth up because as soon as I said that, bam, his music is. I'm like.
And then I bet you felt the chills. On your arm, the goosebumps. No. What I'm getting at is you felt the goosebumps on your arms when that music stopped and the crowd was still singing.
No, goosebumps.
Oh, wow.
Listen. I couldn't be in heaven. There's a reason. The one person that I wanted to be able to see that with was my girl. Unfortunately, she had to work, so I couldn't enjoy that. Like. I enjoyed it, but it wasn't as enjoyable as it would be as if she was there because she loves the song just as much as I do. So, like, I will not lie to you. I Facebook called her immediately as I saw his music kit. Because, again, I thought it was a decoy. I didn't think Jericho was coming out the door. G Reyes is on assignment.
Yeah. What's the assignment, T? Are you on the toilet?
I don't know, but I got a Charlie horse right now, and it hurts really, really bad. But no, again, as soon as I saw him make the run, I called her immediately so she could be there to see this. And they were still playing his music when I called her, because the music hit for a second. He waited a good, I want to say, what, 10, 15 seconds?
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool because I wasn't expecting it. I really wasn't.
And then now they got that 6-man tag that's going to be down in Miami.
I will say this: when they went to commercial, people were chanting, "This is bullshit." They wanted Jericho to fight. Here's my thing: you have your 2-year anniversary, right, of AEW Dynamite.
You figure you bring out all the stops.
Cody Rhodes wasn't on the show, but he was there.
Yeah.
He did the VIP lounge meet and greet.
Yep.
But why would you not make an appearance with the fans? You did a. I get it. You don't always want to show all your cards, okay? I get the whole.
No, not at all.
You don't want to always show someone on TV. But come out during commercials or after the show or before the show.
That's true.
Show your face that you're here and you're appreciated of it. Like you showed the VIP crowd that paid extra money to meet you, but they didn't know they were meeting you. So it was kind of weird. Oh, he's watching MLW from the Philly show.
Fight Land on Vice. I guess that's his assignment.
That's fine. I can't wait to hear about it.
Well, following that segment between them, did you hear that lame ass rap on the Lucha Bros by Max Caster? It seems like at first it was like, okay, great, when he first came in. Now it's like, okay, they're starting to get lamer and lamer and lamer.
No, look, you got to understand what happened. This is their first time back.
After that controversy rap that he put out before.
Yes. So they had to filter that rap a little bit. Some people enjoyed it. I didn't hear it because I was waiting for food. I'm not going to lie.
Man, people ain't going to tune into the show now because then we're going to be filtering Dennis and they'll be like, oh, man, we don't hear him. So, damn, we're not going to watch.
Look, I went for food because I was like, all right, they're coming out for a new, I saw the setup that they were going to do an in-ring thing, and I saw Aubrey holding a belt. So I already knew we were doing they were gonna debut a new title. I didn't care too much about what was about to happen. I was hungry. I wanted food.
Okay, so you wasn't there for the.
Well, no. I was watching on the TV, and then.
What do you think of the belt? Honestly,
I don't hate it. They're matching the logo. They're matching the television promotion.
I understand the letters in the logo has to match the TV and stuff like that, the logo. But the rest of it, all that going on around it, like they could have did something different. And instead of making another women's title, even though they have the women's title already, this TBS title, they should have made it a women's tag team. That's what I think.
But here's the thing: everybody's doing women tag team titles now, so you're doing something different. Here's why: because they're going from TNT to TBS.
It's going to be like, okay, which is better, the TNT title or the TBS title? But one's for a man, one's for a woman.
Well, the TNT title is brand new, by the way.
Oh, what, they just redid it again?
That's the thing that I was thinking. They're trying to be different.
No. Look at Omega's title when he came out last night, and look at Sammy's title last night, and then go back a week before to look at the titles and look how different they're brand new belts.
No, I was gonna say, how many times had they?
No. They're not. They're the same belt. They're just brand new.
Oh, okay.
Sammy's is 100% different. It has sparkle to it and shine and diamonds even more now. I think they're upgrading the belts, not the look of it, but the finesse of it.
Almost giving a more prestige look to
Yes.
have it shine.
Omega's belt 100%
Right.
looks like on the lighting, 100% looks so much better than what it did on TV.
I'm gonna butcher this name here. Darby Allen beat Nick Camarato. Did I say that right? Camarato? Is that how
Yeah.
you pronounce it?
Good dude. Just I was in line for food.
Yeah, I wasn't.
I didn't
really
know this match was happening. Well, I knew it was happening, but I was more intrigued of getting dinner.
And then apparently after the match, QT Marshall gave Sting a diamond cutter in the middle of the ring, but Sting
Paid for it.
he popped right back
Yeah, he
up
popped right back up.
and hit the Scorpion Death Drop. So, but then they went on to see a promo with the Dark Order backstage. Everyone's trying to get on the same page now. They're trying to figure out, who should run the Dark Order? Who should make the decision here? They decided to be everybody. They vote on everything. So they're going to go that route for now until we actually see a nice conclusion what they have in store. So
I was thinking about that, how like they're making it so they're kind of like falling apart. So who do they bring in to bring it all together? Is that where Wyatt comes in?
Maybe no one. Maybe they'll just keep it as is. They're just gonna keep the group and just vote or whatever. Who knows? Because the internet is buzzing and swerving. Everyone is constantly thinking Wyatt or whoever else. So they might just throw us a curveball and be like, hey, we're gonna do something totally different. So
I agree.
And
I 100% agree.
Then we had Dante Martin hit the ring with Tony Schiavone, and he's talking about he's looking to take on anybody. And what does happen? Lights go out. Good night.
Oh, Dennis, what was that like seeing that in person? That had to be like super awesome.
I hate to say it. I hate to say this because it's gonna hurt. It hurts me to say this, but I was still in line waiting for food.
Oh my god! Him and food. If it ain't on the
you sound like the gobbler right now.
No. Here's the thing. I still haven't even eaten yet. This is still me waiting to eat dinner.
Yo, here.
That's how the lines were.
Mikey, what's gonna happen is whenever we're gonna do the podcast, probably when we start the new schedule, we're gonna be like, "Where's Dennis?" Oh, he's in line waiting for Nina to cook him food. But it's all good. It's all good. So anyway, Dante Martin got kicked and his head fell out the ring. Yeah, I see that too, Dennis. I love you too. Love you too, brother. Love you too.
But no, the thing is like, look,
we got a lot of promos on this show. I tell you,
there was a lot of promos. Here's the thing about the Malachi Black thing, right? When you expect to see someone like that pop out of nowhere and the lights go off, you're expecting the place to blow up, right? The roof to blow off.
Right.
I don't know what it sounded like through the TV. I'll have to watch it. But I wasn't far away from where the seats were, like where they're kind of like the Spectrum. I'll put it that way, to where the difference between the concession stand to the ring, the end where you could hear people, isn't really that far back. It wasn't that loud. People were excited, but it wasn't like holy shit pop.
I got you.
Because the lights went off and everybody knew it was him. So I think they could have went a different route. I don't know what route, but I think they could have went a different route for that, because it was as soon as the lights went out, people knew who it was. So it wasn't that surprise factor that he was in the ring.
Now, a surprise factor for me a little bit was maybe the booking gods or writers, whatever, are listening, and now are they gonna try to start doing something with Brian Cage? You know, because Ricky Starks, he came out, started cutting his promo on he talked about the FTW title here in Philadelphia with Taz, and then he mentioned Cage, and then Cage's music hit. He came out, Hobbs and Hook. They ran in for the save, with Starks. I hope they do something with Cage. Instead of you got a big guy like that who's just sitting on the shelf, not doing really anything for AEW, and then hopefully they heard all the complaints and bitching from everyone on the internet, about they need to do something with them.
Yeah,
So,
no, they really do.
Yeah, they do.
And it's only because like Brian Cage really isn't a bad wrestler. He
No,
has
he-
a great
No.
persona.
yes, he
It's
has a great
just-
look to him.
The thing is he has to know how to do it. I think that's what's holding him back a little bit. I think he's expecting, because he's a big guy, and he's this muscular guy, that he's just going to get spots and do things. I don't, and again, I don't think that's really what it is. I think there's something he's missing, and AEW, the officials, are trying to help let him figure it out before they step in.
Right.
I'm gonna try to jump through these results a little bit,
a little quicker.
Yeah, because we all got to be up in the morning time. Well, unfortunately, Sheeta did not win her 50th match. She tapped out. She was tapped out by Serena Deeb, and Deeb took it upon herself to take the trophy and hit her with it, and it broke a little. I guess the bottom piece broke off.
Well,
But
she hit her in the head. The ring broke the thing. Not even her head. She hit her in the head with it and threw it down, and the thing just fell apart.
Well, you know what? I cannot be disappointed with that result. Because anytime in wrestling you hear something like, "Oh yeah, she's gonna achieve her 50th or whatever, or whoever it is," and and obviously the fans believe, "Oh, she's gonna win, she's gonna get the trophy," and here they swerved us all and had her.
I was gonna say how quickly they forget this is the world of wrestling.
Darby Allin got jumped in the parking lot by a bunch of masked men. I'm trying to figure out who they are. I don't know. Maybe they were the same black mask wearing men who was with Muhammad Hassan when he attacked the Undertaker many years ago. That's what it looked like to me. But the world may never know. We'll find out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You will never know.
Going on, we've seen a promo from Mr. Leo Rush when he was addressing Dante Martin about, I guess, potentially being his manager. And like when I was watching this promo, the way he was talking and this and that, and the way he was describing what he can do, I just wanted to say it was MVP light or mini MVP.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, that's what I see what he's doing. But who knows that we're not the bookers and stuff like that. There was an interview with Britt Baker, with Tony Schiavone, talking about the TBS championship and all that stuff.
Yeah, they all did their promo of who's gonna be it.
And then in the main event, everyone was trying to pick who were going to be the wild card. Now the participants were started out to be Orange Cassidy and Pac. Then followed up after that was Andrade, Matt Hardy, John Moxley, Lance Archer, and then the Joker. The Joker, everyone was like tit for tat trying to figure out. Some people were saying Bray Wyatt. The ones who picked the right answer was none other than the returning Hangman Page, which I wasn't picking that. I was thinking it was going to be somebody from outside of AEW. That's what it would be like a debut.
Right.
No, it was just
That's
a
what I was
return.
saying. It's funny, Dennis, because I was talking to a buddy at work who is big into wrestling, and I was like, maybe Bray Wyatt, and he's like, nah. And then when I seen you do asking the fans, and you were saying the same thing, Bray Wyatt, I was like, see, at least I'm not the only one that had that in mind.
Like,
I
I'll say
actually,
this: I had about 4 people I thought it could have been. I
I
didn't
actually
really
said
honestly.
homicide.
I honestly, well, I thought of that. I honestly thought of that, and then I also thought it could have been Daniel Bryan. Just because he won Omega's title, it would have made sense. Hey, guess what? I'm the Joker now. Ha ha ha! Screw you,
Yeah.
Omega. You guys beat us, but guess what? I'm gonna get my revenge. After that first match, I honestly thought it was gonna be someone from that match being in the main
Right.
event. I don't hate that it was Hangman Page. I really don't. I enjoyed it.
No, he's been there since day
You
one,
know,
and and like
It's true.
and he needs that.
I just
He,
didn't think the
he
finish was as strong as it could have been.
no, not at all. I thought it'd be. I
I
thought it'd
thought
be something more
I thought
spectacular.
Moxley. Well, first off, let's just talk about that match.
And all it is, all that chip is Money in the Bank. That's all it is.
Hey, it's okay, but it's a
Yeah.
better version of it. I don't hate Money in the Bank. I like Money in the Bank,
Right.
but they only do it one time a year. It's not a WrestleMania match. Now it has its own pay-per-view. Leave it just a WrestleMania match. Take that pay-per-view away. But we can discuss that Saturday.
Yeah.
Which
I'm just gonna say that we'll talk all WWE stuff Saturday.
Which Saturday, our main topic, besides WWE stuff that happens, will be the Crown Jewel event.
Yeah, I gotta look into that a little bit more.
So we can exactly. I was gonna do that too. We all gotta look into see what matches there are, because we don't know who's gonna go and who's not gonna go, who's gonna protest and
To
whatnot.
be honest, I wouldn't go. So
Yeah,
that's just my
sure.
personal. That's my personal and professional opinion.
Oh yes, I agree with you.
But let's talk about this main event. Period. Hands down, wasn't horrible. It was a great match.
Yes,
You expected big things. Like you expected
I would
Matt
like to
Hardy
see.
to do his leg drop off the top of a ladder through a table.
Yeah.
He did it to the outside, which was kind of cool to see. Pac doing the moonsault up the top rope to the outside to Matt Hardy, and
And Cassidy running around working with his hands in his pants.
it was from start to finish. The match gave you everything you could have expected out of that match. It gave you the up and down. It gave you that thrill, that wow factor. It's like, so when Hangman came out, everybody was like, "Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!" And what was great about it, it was Hangman coming out of the ring with Mox standing in the ring, going, "Let's go, come on, let's fight. I want to fight you because that's what I'm going to do, and that's what I get paid to do is to fight and have no patience and just take your head and kick your ass because you were in Philadelphia."
Yeah.
That's the energy that Moxley was providing all that entire match. And I loved it. And from a fan standpoint, I loved it. I loved it. I didn't like the finish because Moxley, it just looked weird, really weird. It's like Moxley fell off like a stale fish.
Well,
I'm not hating the finish who won. I respect that decision because he should, but at the same time, it also faults a little bit because Jungle Boy should have already had an opportunity really at this heavyweight title and has been kind of like pushed aside. But again, there's people thinking Jungle Boy will never get a title shot and win one. Trust me, when the time is right, when that moment happens, it'll be one of those, oh my God, Jungle Boy just won the AEW World Heavyweight goddamn title. And it will be blowing the internet apart. He deserves those opportunities, but it has to be more special.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed your night at
dude, I loved it.
AEW. Too bad Nina couldn't be there. She's probably kicking you in the ass.
Bro, listen. When I say I video chatted her a lot, so like AEW went off the air with Dynamite. They set it for Rampage, right? I totally forgot Chris Jericho is a commentator on Rampage. I see his music hit. I call her back on Facebook as Jericho was out in the ring, and I recorded it, and I sent it to her. Like on
Probably
video
I
chat
hate
so
you.
she could be
She's
it.
like, I hate you.
She was like, I'm sad because you're not here, and it's not. I can't enjoy our one thing we enjoy about AEW is the Jericho thing. That's that one thing that every fan can get together, whether you like the guy next to you or they smell. You're gonna sing your lungs out to see Chris Jericho's music. So I video chatted her for that, so she could at least have that moment with me a little bit, whether it was through her phone or not. I enjoyed it. Again, I went as a fan, and I enjoyed it. But I filmed the CM Punk entrance, right? Because I will say this: I will give you the card for Rampage in match order. I know you do.
I have it.
I know you do, but I was there, man. Let me do this, man. I have this. So the order was CM. They opened up Rampage, on Friday night. When you watch this, I'm telling you, fans, tune in. You will not be let down for Rampage because it definitely lived up to its what its name is, Rampage. So you had CM Punk versus Daniel Garcia start off the night. You had the Lucha Bros, the AEW Tag Champs versus the Acclaim, and then you have Then you had Jade versus Sky Blue. That was your next match. And then they ended the event with Ricky Starr and Brian Cage in a Philly street fight. And I'm going to say this live on the internet. If you're watching this, anybody from AEW and WWE, stop doing Philadelphia street fights in Philly. We don't want to see it no more.
Yes.
It is overkill. Fans literally were saying, please don't give us a street fight. Please don't give us a street fight. And then they gave you a street fight.
It's like wherever you go, street fight, insert name of town.
Yes. When it's in Philly, apparently when you're in Philly, you got to have a street fight. WWE does it. But I will say this. So after Dynamite went off the air, Tony Khan did come out, right? So they're doing a set change. Tony Khan actually comes out and thanks everybody for coming out, and he appreciates them, and he loves the fact that they're giving them everything we got. And then he goes, look, I know it's been a long night already of wrestling, but if you guys can give me one more hour of professional wrestling fans that we know Philadelphia could be. I mean, this dude cut a goddamn promo. Better than wrestlers now that can cut a goddamn promo.
He's selling his product.
Man.
Like, not just selling his product, he is proud of his product. He loves his product. He wants you to love his product. He literally came out and thanked the fans after that. And then I made the mistake, and I left before the main event of Rampage. I'm not going to lie. I wanted to get home. I got home at midnight. If I would have stayed, I would probably got home at like 1. After everything went off the air, Punk's in the ring. Jericho's in the ring, Taz is in the ring, Jerry Lynn was in the ring, and they're all goddamn talking, and I'm standing here, I'm at home, and I'm like, God damn it, I missed it.
Aye. See you, slacker.
Hey, I had to be at work in the morning.
Yeah.
But again, guys, listen, tune in to AEW Rampage. You won't be let down. Tune in to AEW, period. Tune in to WWE, tune in to ROH, MLW, anything that's wrestling on TV, tune the hell into it. Support it, whether you think it looks like crap or not. We enjoy you watching it, and then you can come on this show and tell us what you thought about it, whether it sucked or not.
Right. You can commentate and tell us what you think.
Speaking of tuning in, and please do not forget to tune in next week for Thursday Night Slam, as we will have our guest. I still can't pronounce her last name. It's Brittany.
I will butcher it.
Hutland? You might have to. Well, we might have to ask her how she pronounces it.
I definitely will. What I'll do is I'll give everybody a real rundown of who she is. Brittany is the owner of Ev 8. If I pronounce that right, it's like Evolution, but it's not. Or Eve 8 Pro. It's the first female wrestling promoter. She is the first female wrestling promoter in Louisiana. She's a commentator. She is also a commentator on Reality Wrestling, Texpodum Pro Wrestling, Pal Pro, Generation Championship Wrestling, Mission Pro Wrestling, New Orleans Chamber of Commerce. She is an announcer and commentator at Title Match Wrestling. She has a degree in marketing and
Are you
everything.
looking at her Facebook?
I'm literally reading. I don't want to say I don't want to give people the wrong information. I want to make sure I have the right information because I have it written down for her on everything she has. But when I say she works with Thunder Rosa and them, so she works with 90% of the females that are on AEW because she's respected.
So people need to tune in next week to catch a lady's aspect of the business from her views.
Yes.
Of what she sees, what she's doing, and how to do things better as well. You definitely got to hear from Jared tonight of how to make you inspiring wrestlers out there, how you want to better yourself. And he mentioned about maybe he'll put out stuff with production and stuff behind the scenes as well. You have his links on the bottom of the screen there in a circle.lpages.co, as well as his Facebook groups, inner squared circle.
Like you and they can message me and I can get them. If anybody wants to message me on Facebook or whatever, or message you or message Mikey, they can get to me and I will get you the link to the Facebook groups. That's free.
Yeah, so and do not hesitate to check that out. Do not hesitate at all. Once again, we'll give a shout out to all of our Devereaux podcast teams out there. I'm not going to run down the list. I did it at the top of the show.
It's a long list.
It's a lot. It's a lot. And our affiliates, you definitely know who you guys are. One final note before we call it quits. We did not get to use our 5 pod card questions.
No, I went away with that tonight.
Can we pick at least one for the 3 of us?
I don't have one next to me.
Do you have a one that off the top of your head that you remember?
I honestly didn't pick any cards for tonight.
Okay, well then, in that case,
I will do this
before I
will have cards picked out for Saturday.
Okay.
There we go.
So I want to give a shout out to our team members who could not be here in the group with us. T. Reyes and Austin. Hope you guys are doing okay. I hope T, I hope your assignment is going good. But gentlemen, any final thoughts or comments, for people out there before we get off the air here?
We'll start with Mikey. Mikey, anything?
I was going to say, don't forget to tune in 11 a.m. on Saturday morning to catch us doing our Breakfast and Body Slam show. But we are not going to be in studio. We are going to be broadcasting from our own places.
I'm
catch us, tune in. I'm sorry,
I'm going to sit out on the deck drinking and having breakfast.
Yeah.
And we'll have a special guest on the show.
Will we? Oh, wait.
We'll have Nina Cafaro on the show.
Okay, because she's going to be home, so that would work.
She has off of work. She goes, "Can I join?" Yes. You're now on the show.
Not?
But I will say
booked.
this:
you're booked.
I said in the group chat, I'm not dropping names. Okay, you guys heard me say it in the voiceover. Little birdies are working their magic. There could possibly be 1, 2, maybe 5 throughout the rest of the year of maybe some AEW stars coming on Thursday night slams or breakfast and body slams on a Sunday. I'm just saying, I put the word out.
And just to let the people know, once November starts, we're not going to be on weekly. It's going to be bi-weekly. So you're going to get 2 guests instead of 4 guests for the month. Because we have to switch it up due to scheduling with personal life stuff. Sundays will be almost the same thing to our Breakfast and Body Slam show. Instead of Saturday, it'll be Sunday, but it'll be weekly, so we can catch up on all the wrestling all in one day instead of being halfway through the week and then trying to talk about wrestling, and then you got to wait till Friday. So, Thursday shows will be only for interviews, basically. Sundays will be wrestling throughout the week. That way we can get all our stories straight. And don't forget about the pop-up pipe bombs. We anytime, anywhere.
Right.
Everybody.
Oh, one more thing. I'm just gonna say it now. December 18th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at the 2300 Arena. You can guarantee not only will you have Reap the Future at a booth, I will do my power to see if I can get Chio to have a table at this event. I am working with the power of God to bring.
December.
Should I say the guest that I'm trying to bring in?
Okay, well, right now,
Or
December 8th.
December 18th in Philadelphia, PA.
I have to disappoint you, but I am free that day. So I will keep that date.
Oh, you said you're free?
I am free. I will keep that date open.
We will discuss after the show. I'm not gonna drop the name that I'm trying to bring in.
Well, let's not discuss it after the show because we all want to get off.
Okay.
I want to get to bed.
Whoa. PG show. We already had one violation on YouTube, goddamn it.
Hey, I gotta fall asleep somehow.
We don't need to know what you do behind closed doors with you and Betty Boop the blow up doll. Or AKA the blow up doll version of Pat.
I gotta pull up a picture of the knob gobbler with a certain cheesesteak in his mouth.
We all have that photo.
Man.
On that note, I'm going to bed. I don't need that image in my head.
Them two like to
Go to
keep it in the
bed.
family
Good
anyway.
night.
So,
Good night. Just go black. Turn the lights off.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in to Thursday Night Slam. Go to bodyslams.pro where you can check out all our platforms, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, everything you want to see, any past shows, this and that. Go there, like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that notification button, and become our friends. If you're not already, please send us questions, send us comments.
Send me comments to Dennis Reaper and add me on Dennis Reaper's Facebook page. Do not add me, please, on my personal page. I will not add. I will say that personally.
And don't forget to add us on Twitter. Each of us, see? You got Dennis Reaper Pro, Chio 24/7, and Ink Artist 45. And don't forget Body Slams PCast on Twitter as well. So for everybody here on the team, I'm Chio. There's Dennis. There's Mikey. Austin and T, get well. Pat, screw you. We're out of here. Peace. Thank you. What a show. What a show.
It was a show. It's still live.